All right, the lady says recording in progress. We're live. Uh, this is a video that I'm very happy to be shooting. I think it's off our advisory board, one of the most acclaimed and one of the guys that I was most excited to introduce to the community. So I think the Interstellars are going to love this. Jesse Liu, ex-marketing lead of Ontology Network. Welcome to the team, man. So glad to have you here, and thanks for taking out the time.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to join NFT3, and I hope I can bring my experience from the previous and to help the team to develop the idea to the community.
Yeah, for sure. I think as far as background working on decentralized identity is concerned, not many people can top you, you know. But and I mean the place where you guys brought ontology to, of course, you know, it's a project that everybody looks up to in that space. But before we sort of start diving into that and NFT3 and what, you know, sort of advice I can take from you and so forth, I would love to kind of go back about 8 years. You've been in this space nearly a decade, you know, and the pace at which this crypto thing moves, I can only imagine how it must feel, because I'm like 2 years in and I feel like I don't even remember my life from before, you know. So just some short background about how you came to blockchain and how it was in the early days and so forth.
Okay. Before I joined the ontology, and actually it was before I joined the blockchain, the industry, the new industry, I was in, we call it Web2 now, and used to be called internet, right? The internet online stuff. I was doing the two sector. One is online shopping, online e-commerce, this whole section, and another part is online gaming. Is now it can it's two slightly different direction, but actually in the early stage is so combination and influence to each others. And in the early stage, I was in the different team to helping the one of the greatest online e-commerce platform we called now we call Taobao, and to develop to deliver the online shopping experience to the whole market. And at that time we achieved a really a good result, you know. In the past like 5 to 10 years, the online data and the online user data has increased rapidly in China. It has huge influence, huge impact on the traditional market and transfer from the offline to online. So that was quite influence to why, you know, in the last 5 to 10 years that the Chinese online experience market has developed so quickly. You know, now in China we use phone every day, and we don't need to use the paper cash and to enjoy our life experience. You know, we can do everything online by phone. So that was quite different. But in the early stage, you know, we faced a really crucial point is, you know, how we call it, it's the trust. Offline we call it trust. Trust is really hard to deliver it to each others. And no matter, you know, if offline when you meet new people, you know, how to start, you know, how to start trust someone, right? And from offline to online, how you trust the data, right? How you trust everything showing on Web2 online, and how to use the trust and how to end the trust to generate the online traffic to the real profit. That was huge difference. In simple terms, it's like the brand really trust the data, online traffic data at that time. So it's really difficult, a crucial time. So it's actually slowed down at that point, the development of online experience in China. I was lucky at that time, you know, I was trying to figure out how to persuade the brand, how to persuade the big platform to trust the data we generate from, you know, from individual. And I was introduced to the founder of Ontology, Mr. Liu.
Wow.
And we have several 6 to 7 talks, each other's meetings. And he introduced me what is blockchain, and he gave me a brief introduction. And also, actually, it's really, to be honest, really detailed introduction about what is blockchain and why, what is DID, decentralized identity, and how and why it's important now and why it's important in the future, why we should have it. At that time we don't have Web3 as the concept, but during the talks I figure out, suddenly just figure out, oh, that's the solution for the trust we're calling Web2,
Right.
from offline to online, from online to online. That's the solution. The idea is the solution for the trust. So that's why maybe some people familiar with ontology, you still remember, I think in the 3 years ago or 2 years ago, our slogan is, to define the trust. That's the slogan of ontology. That's, we come up for the slogan. We bring that concept to the DID. So, then, I joined the ontology. Mr. Lee asked me to bring my experience from the Web2, from the internet, to transfer the centralized identity, the online traffic data, to we call it the blockchain, to the decentralized identity, and to educate the users, to educate the whole market, and to develop the new DID handful protocol, handful product to the users, and to increase our decentralized identity numbers. So that's why we join. I joined the ontology. That's my main job, main task for as a CM or as a head of marketing in ontology. And I can see we deliver a really good result in the past 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And as you said, like everyone know ontology, everyone know ontology is concentrating on DID. DID have a different concept. It's gonna developing. People, our community gonna find more. They have different section, concentrate on different direction. The DID. Maybe some of them try to do everything, and someone try to do in a single sector. But I think in the early stage of DID, ontology develop and distribute a real stuff and push this DID concept to the forward. And
sure.
I think we achieved a good result. Yep.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And in fact, the slogan of ontology that you were talking about, not to flatter or anything, but I still remember the first time I read that article you had written for ontology that was just all about trust, right? And in fact, before this call, I went back to that article and read it again. And it was like, this is, there's a lot of projects in our space and it moves fast and a lot of things crash and burn. But I think that article is like a moment in time to, it's really resonated with me, especially now with the stuff we're doing with NFT3, as you can imagine, right? But I love that perspective that it's basically solving for trust, and one of the other things that's interesting about your story, I think, is everybody that's in Web3 now that we're calling Web3 and all of that, right? Everybody in Web3 tends to, the knee-jerk reaction is to imagine it's somehow anti the old internet, that it's like breaking it or disrupting it. Like those are the words that are popular and those are the narratives that are popular, right? But I love this perspective that you realized way back then that blockchain was actually solving a critical missing piece in the paradigm of the earlier internet, right? And I think that centers to a lot of the stuff we're doing as well. How do you trust digital data where it's coming from, right? And I mean, with verifiable credentials, with the blockchain, these things have really like moved forward. But it's so interesting to see that you come from a place where that was the real world then, and blockchain is the real world in the future. But you saw the bridge of like where the value is, like what's the solution set for the problem that we've had before. So that's awesome to hear. I remember one of the calls we've taken, privately. you were telling me about how in the early days, everyone wanted to do everything on their own chain, right? If you could sort of shed some light on that, because I feel like a lot of the people who are just new to the space, for example, even me, I've been in here 2 years, and I've seen some people try that, but it doesn't work. But I would love to hear some old wisdom from, the early days of blockchain.
Yeah, I think you mentioned, you tried to mention the early stage of what we call the public chain. Everyone in our blockchain industry was trying to build their own public chain. That was the famous words or popular or hottest word in the early stage. I think that's a trend for the new young industry, the way to develop itself, because in the early stage, we call the founders, the developers, they all came from Web2, and they all really noticed that the internet, the whole internet was amazing, was so wonderful, and everyone trying to build a new internet. We call now blockchain a public chain, right? That's the deep heart what they're trying to do. It's not like everyone copy each other. So what we're trying to do a public chain. You do the public chain, I do the public chain. That's the starting from every individual older, history developer come from their heart. I think it's cool, but to develop a public chain, it takes a lot of efforts. From you need to have a solid team, you need to have a great reserve capital, and you need to have concentration, lots of concentration, and you need to have a new direction, and to keep that direction, right, to do it. And I think the reason you ask, maybe the point is you try to isolate is, used to be you have lots of public chain, but after 3 to 5 years, the blockchain industry has developed. We now think it's only few left, right? Less than 10, is still activity or is still in highly transaction. Some of them already gone. Some of them has no really activity users, developers on that. I think that proved my point. You need to have a good direction, concentration team to do it. And it's also, that's the way the things goes on. And back to our point is, the reason I choose NFT3 is, from the first meeting I heard NFT3 from the one of our friend who is the fundamental investor of NFT3, and introduced me to the founder of our NFT3. I can clearly, understand and getting what he really trying to do. He's so concentration on the ideas. That's a good thing. That's the thing. Generally, in final conclusion is, I think in the early stage, everyone trying to do public chain is good things. Is bring the lots of talented developer, lots of notice from outside, from traditional industry, to look into this young stuff. Even though some of them would fail, but is delivering lots of experience, to the young. Now we know that some of them, a new project concentrate on DeFi, new project concentrate on GameFi, whatever different sector on the NFT, they can do on the other chain. That was cool. It's help us to concentrate and to move forward faster. If everyone trying to start from 0 point to do public chain, then to develop to find out which direction they're trying to go, it take longer time. But now we're moving faster than the 5 years ago.
Yeah, makes sense. I agree with you, man. I think I mean, I think the early times, like you said, even I agree, it's a good idea in the sense that they are mistakes of ambition, and so that's cool. But I feel like somewhere something shifted, and now the way that the space is working is everyone wants to get really, really good at one thing, and allows everybody else to use that one thing, and so the space grows like exponentially faster, right? So even for example, the solution that we're creating, the idea is that there's a lot of people creating the metaverse, and that's great. But nobody's really sitting there trying to think about how to unify the metaverse. Like, if there's still going to be splinters of identity in like 10 different metaverses, then the user experience is still going to be splintered, still going to be painful. How many wallet addresses can I have? So what we're trying to create is going to simply latch on to each one of those metaverses, and even DeFi projects, GameFi projects, right? But the point being, I like that now projects are orienting themselves in this way where they're within the roadmap. There's a very clear vision of how this will add value to every other project and ultimately to the user, utilizing whatever project that is. So yeah, I think it's a very good direction. You brought up meeting Dylan for the first time. I think that's something cool to go into. How did you find that first meeting? What were your impressions? How did you decide to come on board? Obviously, identity is something close to your body of work, so I'm imagining philosophically you were aligned, but it would still be pretty awesome for the entire Interstellars community to hear about it.
It's actually it's also my pleasure to meet the founder first time, and it's actually quite interesting. I think it's one years ago and 1.5 years ago, we came up at the Web3 as the Web3, this word has become popular, the hottest, I think in the 1.5 year. And then it come up so many different things on Web3. You have decentralized storage, NFT, right? Decentralized the
DeFi,
DeFi, decentralized finance, and all fundamental infrastructure for support the Web3 as an idea. But it's actually have a missing point, as you said. Maybe something is missing. Something is all individual up there, but it have no connection. They used to be, as you mentioned last question, is like when they have different public chain, Cosmos came up. They have cross chain to solve the data and equity, or the capital transfer, or to match the different line, to combine them together to increase the user experience. But for 1.5 year, when people was really hottest, very interesting about Web3, there one missing point is decentralized identity is the key to Web3. I was doing my research. I was talking to different KOL or major developer investment in the market. Then Dylan talked to me. We have a really good talk, and he bring the point. He just realize there's actually something missing, and something you previously work on. I said, yes, of course. I said,
yeah,
that's decentralized identity. We have different doors, right? Open the doors, they have bright future for different doors, but we don't have the key. Imagine if you are the people, you own 10 different flats, different apartment, you have 10 different keys, and when you open one doors, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna maybe if you didn't label on clearly, you just need to test so many times. It's the worst thing. It's really annoying, right? And it back to the Web3. We have amazing things, right? Individual to individual,
for sure,
like point to point. Then remember how many passwords you need to remember, right? How many account you need to remember, right? If you're on different chain, if you're on different metaverse. So we all agree, decentralized identity is the key to Web3, and it's the only key to Metaverse. No matter we're not talking about, you know, in the early stage, it's gonna seem like it's similar like a public chain. Maybe we have different people building up the different Metaverse in the short term, but in the middle to long term, it may generate to one or two bigger Metaverse,
Right.
and in the
Right.
longer term, we maybe have unique to one huge Metaverse, the real,
Yeah.
or we not call real, but the final Metaverse. But
Yeah.
we still need the key. So decentralized net is the key, and Giant, you know, he realized that thing, and he already put effort on. He built a team, right? He started to do ever development. He tried to do the protocol, you know, and he told me, you know, what he really trying to do, and I was thinking, oh, that's, you know, have a really clear direction. It's gonna work. So, you know, that's why, yeah.
Appreciate it, man. I love that insight about the evolution of the metaverses to the one
Yeah.
metaverse as well. I somewhat agree in the sense that again, it's gonna be, it's a bit frothy, it's new right now, but I think the central focus for our project is the user, right? So what happens in cases like this is, let's think of it like you said with houses, right? Like with real estate, if your real estate is stuck with the platforms everywhere, right, then what happens is whatever value you created is stuck there with the platform, and if the platform goes down, it's basically not after that, right? So I'm really, my main interest in the project and what we're trying to build is to pair the real estate, that is the data, right, to the person and not the platform, because then it just completely flips everything, right? The value accrual is happening with the user that's creating the value, right? So I do think we're building something here that's going to be quite paradigm changing, to be honest. But again, I can ramble on about it infinitely. Let's come back. What do you think about utilizing NFTs to drive adoption, right? We've spoken a lot at length about the identity solution of it. I think that's what we're bringing to the table. That's a little unique. NFTs are already, you know, the hottest thing. Everybody's, you know, into it and all of that stuff. And I think we're one of the first projects that's looking at utility for the NFT beyond back and forth trading and beyond art. Not to, you know, speak down on it at all. I get that movement entirely. But my point is, your NFT3 will be an NFT that's like your passport for the entire digital experience, right? So whether that's the metaverse, whether that's even Web2 integrations, off-chain integrations, right? So I think it's one of those applications of NFT tech that's like really out there. What are your views on that? What do you think about the NFT space in the next 5-10 years?
I think, you know, for the DID itself, as I mentioned before, you know, they have, it may now come to different, they may concentrate on different sections. Some of them concentrate on profiles. Someone concentrate on endorsement, right? Someone ownership, you know, or governance, right? Or even someone concentrate on bounties, proof of humanities, right? They have different sections to do that things, but that was based on the product itself. For user experience, for users to clearly to understand, okay, if I'm going to do something, you know, I choose one of those products. But for NFT3, we are concentrating on the whole utility stuff, right? We are concentrating on the combination, all those different DID to one, to make the users and also to make the platform to easier to connect. That's the major difference, you know. If we only concentrate on we call it consumer or community experience, that we may face further difficulties for, you know, we need to have, we need to have a longer talk, persuade them, you know, to join the platform, to join us, right? To the product to join us. But if we can combine, you know, we can take care of both sides. That's the real Web3, right? We take care of our community experience, and also we take care of the supplier side. the product, the platform side,
protocols,
and
platforms,
that's the way to
everything.
work. Yeah, that's the way to work. You cannot only take one side. That's not possible, but that's really narrow. That's really narrow. You will have different apps, right, in your phone, right? Everyone have different apps in your phone, but if we only have, no matter how many apps you have, it's not our business. We need to have. We are trying to do is. We need to have one thing. That's what we're trying to do. That's the way everyone will use that. That's the way to develop NFT3. That's why NFT3 will have the potential to become the I hope we can become the major market share player for DID, of DID.
Yeah, for sure. I have one last question. It kind of builds on this, because this is the insight that I think we can get most from you, right? Is you just in 30 seconds basically gave us the key to mass onboarding, because you're absolutely right? So it's like two things: user experience above everything, for sure, but then also how you're integrating with protocols, how easy it is for them, and how profitable it is for them, right? So and I think with Dylan's frankly, with Dylan's background with Thailand, right, like close to 100 partners, that part I'm sure we have is rock solid. But what you did with ontology, and even with your Web2 experience earlier, generating, like, onboarding millions and millions of users onto platforms that you created, what do you think are a couple of the keys for getting users to really use the product? Because that's a bit of an issue in Web3 right now, right? Is that people are building a lot of things. To be honest, sometimes you can see the builders get like wrapped up in the tech that they love and kind of make products, but really not, like, struggle to find users later on. And I think our very, very tight focus as a project is to make sure that when we create the product, it really has users all over the space, right? That's why even our MVP that we're working on is the use case is validated airdropping, because that's a big part of the activity that's happening right now, right? But any insights on that? How do you truly onboard users and not just speculators?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, because no matter you develop the protocol or you matter develop a real product, we need to solve the problem for the users, for the communities, for the consumers, right? There's few problems from the consumer side. One is privacy, right? But it's really hard to define and protect, or to so far it's really hard to balance from privacy or to user experience. It's actually conflict to each other, but that's the way to solve it, right? And another issue is maybe we can call the problem is user experience. That's a side. If you can educate your consumer, your community, the whole market, like, you don't need to remember 10 or 100 or the password. You can only use NFT3, the DID, and to enjoy the different metaverse. That's the way you saw it, right? That's why people will use you, will use your stuff. And another, the final thing is from the supply side, from the platform side, from the for sure, we can do the metaverse side. If we can tell them, the traditional or the bigger side, hey, we can help you to have a great communication to the consumers. You can great understand each other's based on our DID protocol, based on our DID product. You can understand each other's. It can bring you value, and you can share the value to the real consumer. Consumer can become happy. That's the way to do it. It's not like DID is trying to make everything clear on your move on chain. Let's say with off chain, I said before, we concentrate on trust. We concentrate on the result of your movement, right? Let's say if we vote off chain, we don't really care much about who's voting. We only care the result, win or lose. A or B. But now on Web3, we curious, hey, who is voting?
Yeah.
So both sides, the community side and the
Protocol
supply
side,
side, protocol side, they both care about who's voting.
Yeah.
So DID is trying to make everything, to solve the problem for both sides. That's we can attract users from no matter from the off chain to other chain, to join us. That's the way. My experience from the Web2 or from the ontology, I was concentrating on one thing is real developer user experience for both sides. If not, you just in your head to develop something, people will not use it, and we will fail in the future. That's why back to the top question previously, your question, why so many publications they fail, because they just imagine what is publication should look like, but they never talk to the community. They never talk to the real world. But do you need public chain? Do you need what kind of public chain? So NFT3, we should avoid that. We should communicate to the market and to bring everyone in the community to join to build the real DID. That's the way, because DID, the ID have not like other product, is in different region in the world, in the real world. People speak different language. People have different, working life experience. They require a slightly different ID system, DID system. And how you match this individual request to the regional request, to the country request, to the whole world, or even Metaverse request, that's the real problem. If I'm talking to Dylan the other day, I said, hey, we are not doing the public chain. We are not doing the DeFi, those kind of stuff. Those kind of stuff, you can use your smaller team to create a product, to testify the market. If it's work, then you work. If it's not working, you can you can leave it. But for DID, for the identity, we need to bring everyone, because it's for everyone. We need to bring everyone as a team to do it. So in here, I was encourage everyone, in the community and who's really love NFT3, to bring your idea, to bring your real problems, what really affect your life, what really annoying you in your real life, and to us, and we can evaluate and we can put in the solution to deliver a real protocol, real product to everyone. That's the way to do it. Yeah,
for sure, man. Agreed. I think the 2 points I'm taking from what you said is, it needs to be convenient, right? It's convenience both on the users end as well as the protocols end, because otherwise you won't get people onboarding. And I think the other thing is just adding value, man, like actually solving something, And I mean, we're such a new community right now, but still the kind of engagement that we're seeing, the kind of suggestions that come through, it's really encouraging, and I thank the Interstellars community for that. I also love the part about strategically picking protocols to actually pair with, right? I think Animoca Brands leading our round really gives us a strategic advantage there, because basically every big metaverse project that there is, right, is essentially an Animoca project. So I think we're in a very good position. We're positioned very well to really create a solution that adds value in a convenient way to basically everybody in Web3. And I'm sure with advisors like you on board, man, just the kind of experience that you have, we should do well. I think I'm quite optimistic.
Yeah, I was really, really happy to join, and I think I'm pretty sure, I'm quite confident I can help deliver my previous experience and to with the team to do the DID in the right way. I was quite confident on that, because even though we have we started a new community, everyone was joining NFT3, in the early stage, but we should have confidence because we are in the right direction. If you want to do some comparison with the old publishing stuff, we can see Cosmos is the one we can compare. They started in 6 to 8 years ago, I think even longer than that. And in the last few years, they just concentrate on cross-chain stuff. They has been undervalued by the market for a long time, but now, January this year, and the whole cross-chain stuff has been developed quite good, and the whole ecosystem has developed really good, and we can solve the project has the value has been goes up, right? The whole ecosystem goes up. For the NFT3, we are in the similar direction, similar situation, and for comparison to the early Cosmos. I think we're gonna good. Yeah, I think everyone was lucky to get familiar with NFT3, and we are also lucky to have communities in the early stage. That's quite cool. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, we're gonna be the unifier for identity. Exactly. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Let's do this again, of course, and we'll try and organize some kind of chat with you with the Interstellars community as well. But thank you so much for your time, Jesse Liu, brand new advisor for NFT3, and yeah, we'll speak soon.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers, man.
Bye. Cheers. Bye.